Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no headlines here. We do not talk about anything that is in the news because you can get that anywhere. And if it leads, it bleeds. And I guarantee you 100% of it will leave you either saying what's wrong with people. Oh no, where are we headed? We're going to hell in a handbasket. And all sorts of things that will stress you out. So I thought I would create a show 13 years ago, 686 consecutive weeks ago, but who's counting, that would balance out the bad news with some good news. So you can go ahead and listen to the headlines, and then it'll just take a little bit more work to sort of balance you out or calm you down. But that's what I'm here for. They said I wouldn't last for more than a year. Well, so glad they're wrong. 13 years later, I'm still here. 1,400 and I believe 16 podcast shows later. And I am grateful that it helps me. First and foremost, it helps me first thing in the morning, be what I preach most of the time, even though the name of the show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. I do use it 88% of the time. And it is Monday, which means it's Mental Health Matters Mondays. That is my special series. I think I started, oh Lord, I am having fun because time is flying. Some time ago, I decided that Mondays would be the day that we would focus on mental health. And even though I am not a clinical psychologist, I'm an organizational psychologist by choice. I am not licensed by choice. I also have BS belief systems that say that we are more powerful than we think we are when it comes to our own mental health. So I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. I am saying that as you are waiting for the appointment, to maybe try some of the things that we talk about on this show, primarily the ch word, which is choice. And y'all know Mondays also means, oh dear, I put it over there. You get a free audiobook copy of my number one national best-selling book called 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. So all you need to do is go to my website, which is up here on the screen, drmarissa.life, and put in your email, and I will send you a promo code that you can get the free audiobook copy because it is Monday. And that's my gift. And it's not a car, but it is something that I'm so grateful. So many people have said that the book really helped them and got them to a place of claiming their birthright to happiness. And we start every show with breakfast. What is it? What is breakfast? It is taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Now, what the heck does that mean? Top of the bun. Things that you're grateful for outside of yourself. So as you look around you, instead of doing this first thing in the morning, which is MS, meaningless scrolling, or mean scrolling these days, my newest name for it, because most of the comments are mean. And instead, look around you and say out loud things that you are grateful for. Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he's on the other side, loving us from there. He used to say, you want a great life, 5 gratitudes every day. I'm an overachiever, recovering. And I say 8 because 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. I know you thought I was Swedish. Thank you for the heart there. But I'm Chinese. And in Chinese, 8 is a homophone for good fortune. So ba is 8, fa is good fortune. So that's why I say 8. So we're going to do 8 things that we're grateful for. And then the bottom of the bun, which I want you to do before you go to bed at night, are 8 gratitudes aimed at yourself. Because many of us grew up with, don't toot your own horn. Who do you think you are? You're not all that. And I know that it was well-meaning from our parents, more mean than well sometimes, wanting us to be humble. But the result of that sometimes is we don't even know what we're good at, and we're constantly looking to other people for compliments or validation, and that will drive your mental health down the toilet because people change their mind and they are in their own play. I love Don Miguel. Grateful that I have had him on the show. Grateful to call him a friend. If you haven't read the 4 Agreements, it's one of the books of life that I think you should read. Not should, that I recommend that you read. I don't want to shit on you. But why did I bring him up? Oh, the thing, one of his agreements, don't take things personally because, everybody is the main actor in their own play of life. And if you think that other people are your supporting actors, you're wrong. They're not there to support you. They have their own show, their own play that they are the star of. So that's why I want you to exercise the most important muscle that you have, which is self-love, self-care, self-soothing. So before you go to bed, you're highlighting things that you did well, that you like about yourself, that you want to celebrate, instead of what a lot of us do, what I used to do, which is go to bed going, oh, I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have done that, and a lot of shoulds, as well as who done me wrong and how dare they. And it's really not surprising that we don't have good sleep at night. And unfortunately, the sleep pills all have side effects, even the natural ones. So this is why I want you to use your powerful choice to focus on things that you like about yourself at the end of the night. So that's what consists of taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich for breakfast. So let's start. And I see eyeballs rolling in. Thanks for joining me this morning. Please play along in the chat, unless you're driving. If you're on my AM, FM drive time morning show, please do not text while driving, because I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to get blamed for that. So what are you grateful for? So I'll start. I don't know if they're sleeping yet or they're still listening, but my beautiful younger daughter, Sarah Way, is here with her boyfriend, whose name is Graham, same as my bonus dad. And they drove down yesterday in the middle of the night and got here safely. I'm really grateful for that. And they're going to spend the next couple of days down here and helping me with my move, which is another thing that I'm grateful for. If you haven't heard already, and I know there's some people going, wait a minute. Your April Fool's joke last year was to move to Canada, and I got a bunch of people on that one because I love joking and making people, go, oh, you got me again. Especially, good morning, Nikki Ackerman. So good to see you. And grateful to have a day for me. Good job. A day to do nothing. I do that once a year. Once a month. A day where I get to do nothing, just to balance out my overachieving self, for sure. Because I have 8 jobs. But I am grateful that I get to go on world tour. And it is not an April Fool's joke. 2 years ago was Canada. Last year was I'm moving to China. So I'm not moving there. However, I am going to uh, resume my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. I never stopped that. However, I was in the Philippines and then in China with the book on tour with Jessica Cox, Limitless Women. And November 2019, I was 10 miles from Wuhan. Yep, that was no, I did not bring back the virus. I don't even want to hear about it. However, I was on the last plane out of China before they started taking temperatures. So that was a little fun, interesting, and made it back here. And knock on wood, I have never had COVID. So I am grateful for that for sure. And especially because y'all know how much I love the deliciousness of life and how I'm one with my food. And the one of the side effects of uh, COVID, or not side effects, main effects, is that you lose your sense of taste, and that would be like hell. Even though I don't believe in hell, but that would be horrible for me. So I'm really glad I haven't had COVID. I keep waiting for a knock on the door as to be a guinea pig on why. And just so you know, what I do is I take a multivitamin that has the same ingredients as emergency and a little bit more, and with zinc. And I get enough sleep that I need. I only need 5.5 hours, so I get more stuff done during the day. I can sleep when I'm dead. I and this is the number one thing. I choose to claim my birthright to happiness 88% of the time. So I'm not in a state of piss offedness for very long, each and every day, each and every hour. And I attribute all those things for why I am healthy. Even though I did get a call from the doctor, my labs just came back and it looks like I'm going to not be able to have shrimp anymore because my cholesterol is back up. And yeah, so that was not a gratitude, but hey, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. I am also grateful that I'll be going to Canada for a month, back on the tour, to uh, Africa in August, Hawaii in September, uh, Ireland in October, Shanghai in November, and Taiwan in December. And that's why my kidlet's here to help me. I'm selling everything. I had a great moving sale over the weekend. If you're in Southern California, I still have some things left. So message me. But I'm ready to fly out on Saturday. So I will still be doing the show. Do not worry. I'm not leaving the show. I'm going to be broadcasting live from Canada, broadcasting live from all those places, except maybe we'll see what happens in Africa. But that's not an entire month. But I'll keep you posted. And you know that I have 1,416 podcast shows. And on Thursdays, I've been bringing out from the show Treasure Chest a lot of really good shows. So you know that I will not leave you hanging if I'm not going to be live, which I have been every single weekday morning since COVID. I will have something there for you to be happy about. How's that? I am grateful that I've had 8 beautiful years on the beach. I am grateful that I am a member of the Agape International Spiritual Center. This is where I get my positive roots watered, my peace of mind fertilized. I'm grateful to be on faculty there. I'm grateful to be doing my balanced Tai Chi Gong, teaching that in the Africa trip to all those who are coming. I don't know if it's too late. But if you still want to join me and my two big brothers, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, founder of Agape, and brother Ishmael Tete, one of the things we're getting to do in Africa is celebrate 50 years of the ethereal mission. Do contact Joe Cada in the travel ministry, or just message me and I'll get you in touch with her. All right. Let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is, what do I like about myself? And again, please do put in the chat if you have, Nikki, if you're still there. I'd love to see what you like about yourself. I love your smile. You can use that one. I met her for the first time in three dimensionals. I think it was last Sunday. And it's always funny because when you're chatting with people or love streaming with people, you know them by their words, very one dimensional. And then when you actually get to meet them in person, it's such a delight. And I think she put our selfies somewhere. So you'll have to go. I'm Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, Facebook, LinkedIn, and can't remember what I am on TikTok, but don't tell my kids I'm on that. All right. I appreciate my ability to have no fear as my middle name. And some of you know my mom, my Chinese mom passed 3 weeks ago. My bonus mom, Dolores, passed 3 months ago. And certainly their passing, they're not lost. I didn't lose them. They're on the other side. They're loving me from there. But certainly that did give me that moment of, okay, I've got a good 20, 25 years in the last chapter of my life. And I'm comfortable here. I love my life here. However, I did feel like something was not complete, and that was the tour, because of COVID, got cut short. So that's one of the reasons why I'm going, and no fear, because it is, I love doing everything once, and some things I even like doing twice. And I live with the adage, fear stands for future events already ruined. And I think that we're raised to highlight or value safety. And I can understand that, because when you're a kid, your parents want to protect you. So everything is be careful, be really sure before you step out into anything, don't do this and don't do that. And it's all based from this, even insurance, right? The fear of the worst case scenario. And for me, life is it's a joyride. It's an adventure. You only live once, that we know of. No Shirley MacLaine here. It would be nice, certainly, to come back and get to live again. But all I know for sure is I am here now. And when I hear people use the adage, jack of all trades, a master of none, it does, push my button, gets one of my goats that I leave out there, because that's not true. It is absolutely not true. Why would we be in this life to just do one thing? And largely something, when I work in companies as an organizational psychologist, I meet so many people who hate their job. They may have liked it. They went to school for it. Some people even go to school for it and they hate it. But hey, I've put already how many 10,000 hours in this, and this is what I do to get the most money so that I can have material or experiences or whatever. And it's so sad to me to watch people just live for their weekends. And when you just live for your weekends, I did the calculation, you're living in 6% of the possible total time that you could be enjoying. So put that in your hat. I just did a moose on the table drop, which is my Canadian version, because I was born in Canada, version of talking about the elephant in the room. So please do not buy into that BS, that belief system that you can only do one thing. And so that's why I have no fear. If I have an inspired thought to do something, I will step forward. And if I get a message that, nope, a door closes, that's the message of, no, don't do that. Right. And that's how I live. And that's why I love my life, because it is an adventure. It is a joyride. And that's the framework. Somebody called me Dr. Frame the other day because of the frames that I put on situations. You can look at it this way, or you can look at it this way. And if you look at life like a joyride, and we're all in line like a ride in the theme park, and when we get on the ride, this is our time in life. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be curves. Sometimes you get nauseous. Sometimes you get that excitement. Most of the time you get that exciting feeling at the pit of your stomach, and that's what life is. And so no one who is hopefully you're not buying into the other BS, which is there's no pain in life, because pain in life is mandatory, but suffering is optional. So that was a long bottom of the bun. What I like about myself, we'll just end it with no fear. And we got some comments here. All right. Nikki is compassionate. Love it. She is affirming and saying that I am a compassionate person. And whenever there's an instance that she encounters someone and she is not acting compassionately, then she can cut herself some slack, because no one is 100% anything. We're human. But if we want to be, I want to be no fear. I'm 88% no fear. Nikki is 88% compassionate, because sometimes we're human, right? And not to beat yourself up when that happens. And most importantly, if someone sees something that you do or say and comes back at you and says, well, you're really not compassionate, you're really not caring, if they say that to me, I can say, thanks for your opinion. Thanks for, they only saw something, and it's about them. It's not about me. If I know that I am compassionate, if I know that I'm caring, if I know that I'm adventurous, no matter what the voice says, no matter what other voices say, then I can go to bed at night kind of being like happy with myself. And I say, good job, mama, a lot. Because the most important person to approve of yourself and to affirm of yourself is not your insignificant other, is not your kids, is not your parents, is not your teacher, it's not your boss. It is the buck stops right over here. So the most important thing that you can do for your own mental health is learn to approve and love and care and promote and communicate on how good you are. Not all the time, not perfectly, but I love being able to say I am fabulous 88% of the time. 12% of the time I'll step in it, but 88% of the time I am a one of a kind wonderful. And that is the truth of all 8 billion of us. And I'm holding that truth for all 8 billion of us, whether you believe it or not, until you can believe it for yourself. There you go. All right. That was the end of breakfast. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. Yes, that's when I saw you in 3D. All right. Let us, I forgot to give us some for affirmation for doing breakfast. I would like to have you join me for the next 28 days. If you're new to this, Nikki's not new to this. I'm sure you do this practice or this good life habit, hashtag blisscipline, as my big brother Michael Bernard Breakfast will say. Every single day. You can do it with me on the show. I'm live every weekday morning to have breakfast with you, take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, because I want you to sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day. Everything is awesome. We're talking about the state of mental health right now in our United States. And hopefully that's not an oxymoron. However, I don't want to digress on that because I don't talk about the headlines. I do talk about things that we can do. First half of the show, I'm going to talk about the reality of where we are. Second half of the show, and we're almost there already, is solution. So this is what I do on a regular basis here. Thanks for joining me. A quick station ID. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. The morning show you're on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my Show Central, my YouTube TV channel, where if you free subscribe and give me the finger, this one, not the other one, you will get an alert every weekday morning to join me here to balance out all the bad news with good news. Thanks for joining us. And we're going to go to the topic, which is, and I put in the promo. Let's see what I said in the promo to remind me what I promised you for the show. And it says 90% of Americans believe there is a mental health crisis, according to a recent survey conducted by CNN and the Kaiser Family Foundation. Kaiser Permanente, one of my clients. I got to do some work with them in Oakland a few years back, and a great organization. Nearly 50% of those who believe there is a crisis, now this is the key thing here, 50%, also noted there was a severe mental health crisis in their own families. So let me take a pause and give some credit and kudos. And I don't know if I've ever given her a Beneficial Presence on the Planet award. I was introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah by my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, some years ago. And it's an honorable moniker because I credit her for bringing mental health, not as she turned mental health from a stigma to highlighted it for everyone as an okay thing to talk about and an okay thing to address and an okay thing to heal in. And that, I think, was one of the milestones for media. You know, she came from the time of Jerry Springer, and you know, most of the things that you saw, including in the news, were how, you know, it was very black and white, right, wrong, is it good, is it bad, and it was not not something that you wanted to be connected to. Let's just put it that way. And because of her interviewing, because of her, you know, her natural, because she put her own moose on the table and talked about her own abuse, that it became okay to talk about. And for that, I'm giving her Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet award. So that is for Oprah, just in case she watches the show. Speaking of which, The last time my big brother was on this show, he said at the end of the show, uh, you know, they're going to start calling Oprah the Black Dr. Marissa. Nikki, I said that for you. Might get in trouble for it. Hopefully not. But I just thought that was hilarious. And my reaction was, don't say that. Don't get me in trouble. But I do, you know what? I'll put the moose on the table on something else because I've had some more people than usual come up and say to me, you really don't need to say that you are the Asian Oprah because you are Dr. Marissa and you have your own, your message is very, very strong and you don't need the reference. And I received the compliment and I know that they are meaning it as a compliment. And at the same time, at the risk of sounding defensive, the reason why I say this is Dr. Mercer reporting live, you may know me as the Asian Oprah, is because when I'm on the carpet and I'm interviewing Halle Berry, as I did, or John Travolta or Quincy Jones, if I say, hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, can I ask you a few questions? It's one thing, they don't know me, right? But if I say, I'm Dr. Marissa, you know me as the Asian Oprah, the immediate response is a laugh, right? And it changes the whole tone of the interview. And that's why I do it. So there you go. Hopefully that didn't sound defensive. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put that moose on the table while we're here. Yes, very funny. And by the way, what did she say when Michael said this is the Asian Oprah? She looked at me. It had been choir Sunday. So I was in these really cool pants that I got in Solana Beach. And she looked at my pants. I mean, she looked at me. She looked down at my pants. She looked up and said, nice pants. So if the first exchange with Oprah in person is a compliment, it took everything for me not to say, do you want them? I'll never forget. Thank God I didn't say that. I just smiled and then her car came. So there you go. That's the story of how I became the Asian Oprah. Okay. All right. Let's go to mental health. Mental health says that, I mean, it is way more prevalent than we thought, maybe, or maybe if you had it in your family. I hear this a lot. I had no idea that I thought I was alone, or I thought, our family was alone, or, that kind of. So the good news is, as we begin to talk about mental health, and that's why I dedicated an entire series every Monday to it, is the awareness is up. And as an organizational psychologist, I also know that when you put the spotlight on something, it will grow bigger. So as you put a spotlight on something, you will, I'm getting a signal here that the signal's not as strong as it could be. So let me just see if there's anything I can do on this end. Same thing that happened with sexual harassment, same thing that happens with diabetes, same things that happens with cancer. As soon as you focus on it, that's the law of attraction. Things grow bigger, you notice more, there's more false positives, there's a recognition of it. So you have to take that into account if it's real or not. So if you had a symptom that you didn't know was part of a diagnosis, all of a sudden when you read that it is part, then all of a sudden you think you have it. So that's, again, the law of attraction at work with things that maybe you don't want it to have work in. So paying attention to something will always bring the awareness to it and the BS belief system that it is way bigger than it maybe is. So there's a balancing part. So the pendulum swings this way. So it was under recognized before, then it's over recognized, and it will take a little time to settle into the reality of what it is. Okay. So a little organizational psychology lesson there. Let's see. Thank you, Nikki. Great intro. So, this is for all the families who thought they were alone and that mental health was a stigma. It's not a stigma, it is a reality. It doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to all the statistic that you just saw there. Okay. Another thing that I found was that 22.8% of US adults experienced mental health illness in 2021. That's the latest that I found that was, empirical, not just someone making statistics, making a number up. I see NAMI as a credible source, Center for Disease, Scripps, Harvard Medical, so, I always tell you, be careful where your statistics come from because you want to make sure that they're not biased. And if you haven't seen this before, please use it. It's a media bias chart that shows you that whenever you say that's the truth, it's gone through a lens, so I try to get my news from the center here. Okay. Let's see. I have to change something here. Nope. This one. Okay. Okay. So that is 22.8% of US adults is 57.8 million people. This represents 1 in 5. Okay. 1 in 5 have been diagnosed by some kind of mental illness. And let me stop right here because I want us to hold a frame at the same time, put on the pair of glasses, and I'm very adamant about this because many of us in that pendulum swing begin to identify ourselves as only through that one lens of mental illness. When people tell me I'm a schizophrenic, I am a clinically depressed person, I am a chronically mentally ill person, I am a I am clinically anxious. I lovingly remind them that they are a person who has some presenting symptoms of that diagnosis, but it does not define them to the whole and the total that they are. And I think that's one of the things that has hurt the identification of mental illness. So I want to balance that out, that yes, it's important to understand if you are not yourself, you're not feeling yourself. I have clients in businesses. I do executive coaching, and they will, high performers, and then all of a sudden they wake up one morning and they're crying and they don't know why they're crying, or they have uncontrollable anger and they don't know what's happening. And they go to the doctor, they get diagnosed with something, and then everything from the past, everything they've achieved, everything that they are, all the other qualities that they have, they're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and now they are just this problem person. And I it's very sad to see. And so my work is no, wait a minute. Okay, you're having some symptoms. I'm not saying that you're not this diagnosis, but let's not forget who you are in the whole of who you are. All right. So as we continue speaking about this particular topic, I want to anchor that point for everyone. Okay. All right. 90% of America. Oh no, we did that one already. COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, let's be real. And this is why I want to finish off this show with some solution around some of the things that could be, your best case scenario instead of constantly seeing COVID as a loss, COVID as a something that hurt us. There are some things that we can, post-pandemic possibilities. And I did this short film during COVID. I woke up with these words and then put it to a short film in my entree as a filmmaker, adding to my multi-hyphenate. So we're going to end the show with that. But a couple more statistics here. If you're curious, and I was curious about how COVID affected mental health, here it is. 25% increase in the prevalence of anxiety and depression worldwide. According to the World Health Organization, another place I get data, the mental health of young people, women, and healthcare workers in particular has been hit notably hard. Depression affects about 280 million people worldwide and has been cited as the single largest contributor to global disability. So that was really interesting because I really wanted to know, what percentage, right? Because of COVID, and I got it. So 25%, that's pretty significant. And again, it is a diagnosis that has presenting symptoms. It is not here for us forever. There are things that you can do that don't require medication, side effects, that don't require another medication to help the first medication. It requires using your most powerful tool in life, which is choice. I have been blessed to hear from so many people who said that just the exercise of taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich on a daily basis has improved their mood, their feeling good, decreasing piss-offedness. So there are things to do that don't have any side effects to manage your own mental health. Okay. Let's see. 5 most common mental illnesses: anxiety disorders. The most common category impacts approximately 40 million adults 18 and older. Mood disorders, psychotic disorders, dementia, and eating disorders. I will say that if you have the bottom 3 of that 5, psychotic disorders, dementia, eating disorders, please go to your doctor. There's no hesitation there. However, if you think you have anxiety disorder or you think you have a mood disorder, before you or at the same time, I want us to exercise our ability to make choices. It's not a muscle that we've been using, especially since the onset of social media. We have given media the ability to be a weapon of mass distraction. And we've lost our belief in our own ability to focus. And that's been my message, will continue to be my message. It's called personal mastery. You are the boss of how you focus and where you focus. And that's what I want you to learn to do here on Mondays, Mental Health Matters Mondays. So I'm going to switch over. We're going to take a quick break and do a station ID and then come back and watch. Hopefully, you will enjoy this post-pandemic possibilities. Don't go away. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. It's peace in, peace out. We'll be right back with more on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. Home to the Asian Oprah, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel where you free subscribe. You'll get an alert every weekday morning to tune in. And we're going to go straight into a film that I got a laurel for my first attempt at filmmaking called PPP, Post Pandemic Possibilities. Here we go. Oops. It's been a tough, horrible, unanticipated, unprepared for, crappy year called the pandemic. But before we rush back to normal, a normal where there were a lot of overworked, underpaid, angry, frustrated, and depressed people who hated their jobs and lived for their weekends, can we consider a new normal? Take a breath with me. And consider a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities. What if conforming to the world was exploring the world? What if the question, what do you want to be when you grow up, little girl, turns into, how many streets of life do you want to explore? What if there was another way to grow up believing in yourself so that you don't have to attend the school of hard knocks? What if the current push to do well in subjects that you are not good at, or choose a school that you can't afford, or to declare a major when you are still a minor in life are not the pressures that cook us raw? What if there was another career path where words like rat race and dog eat dog and climbing or clawing our way to the top are not in our career ladder vocabulary? What if big business control and imbalance, resulting in people stuck in jobs they hate, contributing to dreams that are not their own, were BS belief systems that had to be called out? Like cookies that had to be deleted in your mind browser. What if the lesson in the pandemic is that the trajectory that we have been on needs a hard reset? What if the real virus in our society is currently structured to help a few and hurt many? What if we could say, help our own and help others in the same breath? What if we grew up with global patriotism instead of warring nationalism, and not afraid of helping socialism? What if we were taught how to see past skin color and learn how to value others for who they are? What if you were taught how to value who you are, especially when value was not found growing up at home? What if I knew I was important without anyone telling me? What if I knew that I was of value so that I didn't have to go around asking people to appraise me? What if world peace started with an okayness with ourselves, who we are, and what we think in the imperfect, perfect persona that we splatter on this world? What if we learned self-care skills so that we wouldn't thrash about so much when we were in the middle of the dis-ease with life? What if we could care for others without hurting myself? What if we valued ourselves enough to take care of our own selves, our body, our mind, and our soul? What if we each took responsibility for our own choices and quit blaming others when we insist on dragging our past along with us as an excuse to behave badly? What if we learned relationship skills as soon as we learned addition, subtraction, and how to dissect a frog? What if we knew that all life was valuable, even when we disagreed on how people were living? What if we cut people some more slack when we know they should know better, but because of their own humanness, they temporarily missed a take? What if the purpose of life is not to die with the most toys to leave our squabbling relatives? What if the purpose of life was to do things that we enjoy most of the time, have relationships that we enjoy most of the time, and use our unique talents, gifts, and abilities to fully express in the dash between birth and death? What if there is nothing to be afraid of? What if everything that happens to us is for our divine and best good, even if it doesn't feel good? What if death is not that big of a deal? What if the concept of death is not the hill we want to die on? What if tragedy is not really tragic? What if people dying in tragedy has purpose in releasing more love that we may have trapped inside our minds and our bodies? What if challenges that we face because of skin color or physical limitations or gender or our differences are all conditions that can grow and chisel and elevate us into the most magnificent of sculptures? What if I can turn every single bad, shitty thing that ever happened to me into rich fertilizer to birth and grow all of the potential that I was born with? What if life does not suck? What if I knew I was one of a kind wonderful, that I had a unique gift, talent, and ability to unleash on life one glorious year, day, month, and season of life? What if, as a direct result of this horrible pandemic, we could rise out of the ashes with a new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities? Well, you can. You can rise. You can live in my what if. It just starts with choosing happiness, choosing to love this thing called life, and drop the rock of BS belief systems that have tricked you into thinking that you are not enough. Because all of this is possible if you choose to believe in you first and foremost. Because the buck stops right over here with you, with me, and with us. The sooner you turn "it's impossible" to "I'm possible," the what ifs become possible too. Because you are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. But it may start with getting out of bed and making it. What if starts with you. Hi, I'm Dr. Marissa, broadcasting live from this thing called life, trying to get you to drink my rose-colored Kool-Aid and join my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. I don't think you've seen that before, Nikki. And I'm glad that I got to show that to you and all the other eyeballs that are out there that have not identified. But it is hopefully has some words in there that might inspire you to look at the pandemic a little differently, that any anxiety that you continue to feel, thank you so much, Nikki, that you continue to feel as a result of the shelter at home, the isolation, the loss or apparent loss of things during that time, and you're carrying that anxiety into the future, into now. I would uh, encourage you to focus on not what was lost, not what was changed that you don't like. I know that there's it birthed an understanding that maybe you don't have to be driving for 2 hours to go to a job that maybe you don't like and then driving 2 hours all the way back. I know that there's some tension and conflict with going back to work with people who are like, I don't think I want to do that anymore. And it may be leading to some challenges around, redesigning work, which is not a bad thing. It is, what works remotely, what doesn't work remotely. If you can focus on opportunity, if you can focus on best case scenario, if you can focus on pronoia instead of paranoia, which is what good can come out of this. This is something that I say all the time. And I encourage my happiness coaching clients to, whenever bad things happen, don't say, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm okay, oh, well, bad things happen to good people, good things happen, or bad things happen to bad people. Instead of not expressing your piss offedness, I'm really good at writing a really poignant and mean response to people that just insulted me for no reason. But I don't hit send, I hit save draft. I let my anger go, I let my piss offedness go, but I express it safely. And then I ask the question, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. And every time I do that, might be the next week, something good will come out of it, might be the next year. Some of you know the story of my number one best-selling book. It came out of losing a $200,000 consulting project at a big hospital that I've been working with for a year. I got a call. It said, your sponsor has been canned, no project. And I was not happy. I jumped up and down, stomped my feet for 16 seconds because I don't want to bring more crap into my life. That's the law of attraction. Abraham Hicks. And so then after the 16 seconds, I said, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. The voice said, write. I said, I don't have time to write. The voice said, you do now. Sense of humor. My UPS man, my universal power source, he delivers every morning when I meditate. And I sat down to write first chapter out of loneliness and hope, last chapter out of control into happiness. The next morning, after a week of writing, I got an email from Motivational Press saying, we follow motivational speakers on LinkedIn. Are you writing anything? True story. I didn't go with them. I wanted an East Coast publisher, no literary agent, nothing. But the book went number one, Amazon, and 8 bestsellers, and is now a national bestseller. So that's what happens when I take something horrible, right, and express myself, and then say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. That's a formula that you can use Two, when your temporary feelings of anxiety, temporary feelings of dis-ease with life, temporary feelings of feeling sorry for yourself, you can choose to do and say exactly what I just did and see what happens. Because the only side effects of that approach is more smiles, more laughter, and more appreciation for life. Thanks for joining me today. You know the drill. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah, wishing you to claim your happiness. Bye.